So I'm back. So I took the light system off the ROPS. This is the box. I'll come to that in a minute. Basically, it's just the main. That's the main part of the whole system, and that's the cover area. Now the cover is comprised of 3 different parts just for this strobe light system that I put on. I'm going to put my camera here and sort of show you how this was done. I have the top here. As you can see, this is mounted here. Now this all comes apart in a way. I have the cover that comes out, and then I made this out of wood that's placed in there. This is where all my little lights are hooked on. Basically, it came with those little brackets, so I just screwed them on the wood. I needed something to screw on, so I made this little kind of wood block to fit inside all my steel mounted stuff. And again, this, I had to make this bracket with all the holes to fit my bolts and to fit all my wiring through the system, so I could put it down and hook it up with all the other wires. So there's the top piece, there's the wiring part of it, there's this base plate that hooked to my other top plate, which is my cover plate for the whole unit. And as you can see, I have 3 holes there. So the one hole is to secure this thing. It's secure this to that. The other 2 holes are to secure my top plate onto this. So when it's all said and done, when I put this on top here, I put this inside, and I line these 2 with it, like this is what you have. It's the complete finished look. And as you can see, I had to cut all of this. Basically, again, I'm not a steel guy, so everything I did was using grinder and, little saw and stuff to fit this. So this was a very tricky piece to fabricate. As you can see, each section is its own thing. I took a plate, I cut it in the octagon, I welded all these little pieces in there. I kind of weld them inside to give the outside a more cleaner look. And once I was happy with it, I had to construct this block. End up shaving all the end to make sure the wires were fitting in through, not interfering with the holes and stuff. I had a hole lined up with every one of them. And as you notice, I have these little white piece of tape as reference on what lines up with what, because you can't turn it another way. This is so custom made. If I try to turn this in there, it ain't gonna fit no more. Now each of these strobe light works on a system. I have each one colored because they correspond to colored on the other side, which I'll show you right now. So what happened is my wiring, 3 of the wires, I got them separate here. There's 3 of them, the blue, white, and green control 3 light, and these one, that's another thing that I'm going to quickly touch on. The reason this doesn't look as clean as they're supposed to look like this. I had this mounted, I was taking it apart to check something. The cover fell and the wires snapped because the wires held it, like the weight of that whole unit, the top unit came down and broke too, so I had to kind of makeshift those, which I wasn't happy with, but it's all inside so you don't see it. But the reason there's 3 and 3 is because, again, the 6 light here. And I wanted to make sure that I have 3 flashing mode. They flash in sequence in the sense of 3 of them will flash. So I divided so that the 3 would be this one, this one, this one. So I wanted this one, this one, this one to flash, and then they turn on, the other 3 goes on, goes on, goes. The B setting, the center setting, basically they flash in, again in sequence. It's 3 and 3, but I can't remember what it does. It's the 3 and 3, which I had to separate again. So that's why they are in the way they are right now. I had to actually take this apart a few times when I was playing with the settings to make sure that this was going to go there and this here or whatever, so that the system was all good. C setting on the light, they all flash. They all blink flat, like back and forth. So that was a pretty complicated part of the project, just to have these stupid little strobe light on there. Again, this allows me in the future, I can put another plate on top here if I want to cover the holes and do another strobe light, a bigger one or something else. The top, I can do something with that if I want to. The wiring, the same. I can always use some of the wirings that are coming up here, because it's already into the panel now. Coming up here, I can reuse some of that to just kind of rewire the new ones. Again, I try to use a lot of the quick connect stuff, waterproof. I got most of the stuff, especially the quick connect stuff, on Amazon. I got these little light on Amazon, the backup light. So now to this mount thing. There is a process to that. After I bought these things, I figure I needed so much room just to fit it in. So I had to figure the plate that would look right, a little equal at the bottom, equal at the top. It came out 5-inch. After I had 5-inch established, because the ROPs are 1.5-inch, that leaves me 3.5-inch bottom and top to center that. So I put it's hard, maybe it's hard to see there, but I put a 1-inch bar at the bottom, and I put 3/4 little bar on top, 2 of them. Now I left myself a space in there to the wire to run through on both sides, and as you can see, my U-channel had to fit under here. That's to hold on the bar, but I have to be able to take these off. Now the other thing I did is my front bar, because the way it comes, I'll take this off. There's a back plate here that allows me to, when it's on the ROPs, I can take these little bolts. They're short enough that I can unscrew them, take that back plate out. Now when this back plate is out, it allows me to take this out if I want to reset it or tighten in the bolts and stuff like this, because I can only do that from inside. Now the other little neat thing that I did that's kind of unique is I made these little brackets. As you can see here, the little brackets are made just to fit inside of this, so I can lock them in just by putting them down and sliding them over. Now once they're here, they can't go forward anymore, they can't go up, and that back plate that I made is tight enough that it stops them, the light to come back, so it has no way to get out of there. And I find this works great because it gives me again that clean look that I wanted, not having to bolt something through, because that's the only way you would have been able to attach these, is to bolt something through this, my mount, to fit it and then bolt it, and then you would have seen it underneath. I didn't want that. So in order to achieve the cleaner look, this is what I came up with. Again, I don't have a lot of metal tools, so in order to again achieve the clean look, I welded bolt inside, inside. I drill a hole, I welded the nut inside so I can screw my bolt on the outside. So I have nuts welded kind of everywhere inside of these things to fit. When I build a box, all of this is in pieces. The sides, the front, every single thing was built as I went. Adjusting, fitting, I made sure it fit on the bar. I took it off, took it on. So it was a bit of a process. I angled the backlight. As you can see, there's a bit of an angle on them because I wanted to spread more out. And as I mentioned in a previous video, the B26, the ROPs are on an angle itself, so it sort of tilt towards the back, which allows the light to shine more downwards, which is great when you're doing backhoe work. Put it in the rods back down. As you can see, when the backhoe's on, I wanted to make sure again, when this is on, when the main box is on, I still have the clearance from the backhoe. I can turn the backhoe like literally the whole range of motion that it has without touching the box. Its clearance is there. Now, I never have the ROPS down when the backhoe's on. The only time I put the ROPS down is usually when I do grass. And again, I wanted this set up. When I have this on the second settings, the ROP box is, the ROPS are high enough that my bracket doesn't interfere with my toolbox that hook onto these mounts here, which I'll show in a later later video. So I'll put this back up. So basically this is the lights, my ROPS light system. If you have any questions, let me know. Most of the material used again was metal supermarket for steel, wiring stuff, mainly Amazon for the lights, the LED bar, the LED backlights, the quick connect, that's all Amazon. And all my wiring stuff as far as tape, solder, whatever, it's all from Princess Auto. You can get all this. There's probably 1,000 ways to wire these things differently depending on your taste, on your how clean you want it to look. So that's stuff that you basically have to decide on how you want to do it. But for me, I do like the clean look. I don't like to show too much. So the way I did this, it allows me to hide a lot of the stuff and still give it a clean look and a unique look, I think. I haven't seen Paul Short, again, shout out to Paul. He has great mods. He has kind of a similar clean system on his BX25 mod that I see. But his is much more, I'd say probably better, because especially the strobe light system that he put on. My system, I mean, it's okay, it's just that there was a lot to do in order to get this. I should have, the money I ended up spending and the time I spent up on this, I could have probably bought a pre-fabricated strobe bar with 2 wires that I connected, and then boom, I would have been done. And it would have been simpler, let's put it this way. But I had time to do this at the time, which was last year when I built and construct most, like all the fabrication of my mods, the metal part of it, I did last Christmas. And it took me a year to figure it out, fit it, everything, figure my wiring, especially figuring on how everything was going to come up to this control center here that I made. So that was the main thing. So it took a while to plan all this to make sure everything was going to fit, and now it's complete. So if you have any question on the ROPS light, let me know. Anybody who wants to I just lost my thoughts there. So that's good. I'll make another video shortly about actually, in my next video, I'm going to talk about having the machine now for 2 years. The little problems that came through, the quick fix that I found, and the other things that, shouldn't have had to deal with the dealer, but the dealer said, oh, we'll come down and to take your machine and we'll fix it. Well, it could have been fixed at home. Little things that little things. After 650 hours, I'll tell you what went wrong. Very little went wrong with the machine, which I'm very pleased. But there's little things that could probably been avoided if I would have known. So I'll let you know what those were. All right. See you later.